Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the March 8th version of the PilotJam on RC Video Reviews. Glad you guys can make it. And let's see what's going on in the first game. Freddie was hot on it. I mean, I think Fred was in there within a second after I hit go. Keith was in right after that, very close. Hobie, a distant third. Keith thinks Freddie has inside information. No way, man. No way. That's for me to know and you guys to figure out. Nobody gets to cheat in that game. I'm the only one who knows. Glenn's going to go fly something nice. Go get it, Glenn. Have fun. Blizzard FPV says 1930th person here. Thumbs up. Yeah, hit the thumbs up button. That's a great idea. Thanks for reminding everyone, Blizzard FPV. Appreciate you. Freddie says, I just happened to be on my phone at the right moment. I think so. Fred, well, which is all moments, right, Fred? Isn't that the answer? Let's see. Burnt Nougat. Get pumped. Okay. Yeah, get pumped. We got a heck of a show tonight. Mark Drury's here. How you doing, Mark? Glad you could make it. Let's see. It seems to have skipped on me a little bit. There we go. Okay. Dan Griffiths is here. How you doing, Dan? Philip Jang is here. Bill is here. How you guys doing? Good to see you. Blue Sky 9. Hello from MA, Massachusetts, Massachusetts. Tom Evans is here. How you doing, Tom? Glad you can make it. And Robert Burrow. How you doing, Rob? Rob has been, you guys have no idea, man, what I put Rob through. Rob is like, he's an asset to the channel. That's all I can say. Rob, thanks for your help all week, man. We're going to talk about him later. Let's see. Blue Sky 9 got you already. Who else is here? Hobie. We got HB. Jeff, how you doing? Happy Friday. Weather is improving, and we're going to hit like 85 tomorrow. We're having a hot fit. Robert Ortlip is here representing another Canadian in the house, and A. Waters says, hey, all. How you doing? Glad you can make it. All right, I think I got everybody. I'll remind you, if you pop in to the PilotJam, make sure you say hello in the chat so we know who's here. And, okay, let's get down to business. So we're going to start out with the week in review, and you can see in the week in review in the little ticker down there at the bottom, two videos, and one was 30 seconds, and the other one was this one. And you guys are going to be like, man, what are we paying him for? You have no idea how busy I was with RC this week. I did more with radio control this week. That's why I was off camera, because I was just crushing it with radio control this week. And I have so much material for you. It's going to be like, wait a minute. Are we just now putting all the material inside a PilotJam? But we have stuff to cover, believe me. So it's a very short week in review. But with that said, let's get into the material because I have just a ton. We're going to be here until about 4 or 5 in the morning. So put your feet up, go fill up your coffee, and relax. We have a lot of material to cover, okay? It's going to be crazy. Okay, first up is the slick update. We're going to talk about the slick update first. So if you guys remember the 70-inch slick, that plane, I did a video on that, and I said, can we use 6S to fly a 12S plane? And the answer was emphatically yes. And I stand by that. The power was there. And I also want you to know that I had to add a little bit of weight because, you know, look, if you're designed for 12S and they design the weight and balance for 12S, you have to accommodate if you're going to go to 6S, right? So one thing I did was put a really big battery. I used 6S 6200s, but I put some weight inside the cowl as well. And even that, here's what happened. Here's the story. I went and flew the 67-inch laser. And that 67-inch laser is kind of like the benchmark for me now. That plane is just so good. It's kind of the benchmark. So I went and flew that, and it was off camera, just me, and I had a great time, and then I flew the slick. And when I flew the slick, I realized, oh, so it had the power. It wasn't a question of power. The power was there. So I stand by my comments. The power was there. It was not a question of power, but it was a question of balance. And even though I added some weight on the nose, it just wasn't feeling the way I wanted that plane to feel. So I opted to upgrade it to a 12S system. And if you're on Discord, what you'll see in Discord is that I went ahead and bought a Sunny Sky 30cc, and I took the ESC out of the 78-inch NG and stuffed it in there. So the slick 70-inch slick is now a 12S system. I'll be flying that this weekend. We'll get some video of that plane, but I'm going to tell you guys, the reason I went with the 6S system in the first place is because I was really tuned into this idea of the biggest airplane I could get with a single flight pack, a single 6S battery. And that's strictly a question of convenience. All right, that's it. But I solved some problems. So I'm going to show you some of those things in a little while. We'll talk about the battery strap. So we'll come back to that. But anyway, 70-inch slick is upgraded. It got the ESC out of the 78-inch NG, and I'm going to talk about that as well. You can see the little brick here on the desk. We're going to cover this. We have a lot to cover. Okay, a lot to go over tonight. All right, so that's it on the slick. I just wanted you guys to be aware so you understood. If you said, wait a minute, I thought the 6S setup on the 70-inch plane was fine. Power-wise, it is. It's the balance that I couldn't get the way I liked it. So after comparing it to the laser, man, I just said, man, I got to get this thing in the right weight class. And so that's what it's doing now. It's a 12S setup on the 70-inch slick. By the way, that slick is still just a beautiful, beautiful airplane. Some of the best looking lines on an airplane I've got. I think it's a really highly attractive airframe. Okay, so that's it on the 70-inch slick. Next up, the extra NG. Okay. I told you guys we're going to talk about the NG. So here's the deal on the NG. And I'm going to give you some more information too about the short video that I posted. We have a lot of material on that to cover, but I do want to give you a quick look at the hardware that's going in the NG tonight. This is the AM780 motor. Now, long story short, when we flew this motor, this was actually the motor that was in the plane for the Maiden. We thought we had a problem, and I don't believe we do. I think I'm going to correct the issue. I don't think there's a problem. So with that said, I'm putting the motor back in the airplane, and it's getting this hunk of metal. This is a Scorpion 130 amp 12S Tribunus. It is just stupid expensive. I think outrageously expensive, but there's a reason I got it. Two reasons I got it. One reason is because I've been talking with Rob, and we've been working on this desync thing. And in talking with Rob has flown these before, and he says, yeah, they don't really have that problem. Although he still does use an idle up because he likes the way it feels better. He said they really don't have a desync problem, and they have a very linear throttle response. So that's reason number one. I wanted to try it out. And here's my theory, guys. I'm just gonna go out and say it. The 78-inch NG is my flagship plane. I think it's the nicest looking plane I've got. It's one of the biggest planes I've got. And it's going to get the Mac Daddy motor. This thing is good for 5,000 watts. And I'm going to go ahead and put the best ESC I can find on it. And that right now, I believe, is a Scorpion. The G2 is pretty good, but the Scorpion's got some features that I just want to try. And namely, they have to do with that spool up and desync issue. I'm going to kind of fool around with that. And it's mainly for my own education. I can tell you that the G2, the ZTW G2, with an idle up on the 70-inch plane did fine. It did fine. It wasn't a problem. I didn't have desync, so I still stand by that. But I just want to see what happens if I go without an idle up on a Scorpion. Can this ESC handle it? I want to find out for myself. And based on what I saw with Rob's little snippet he put on Discord, the throttle response on this ESC is really solid. Okay, so that's the first reason. Second reason is, and it has to do with the concept of ESC telemetry. We'll talk about that in a little bit, but this is one of the devices that's got full support for ESC telemetry. We are going to cover that a little bit. See that little wire hanging off the back? We're going to get into it, okay? So the NG, bottom line, the 78-inch NG is going to get the T-Motor AM780, the Sunny Sky 40. That's just going to get put in a stash for something to come later, so don't go getting all animated about it. That's a nice motor. It's a good motor. Sunny Sky 40 cc's, 2 thumbs up. They're solid motors, great performance. I'm just going to hold on to that one for, the next thing that may come up. That's all I'm going to say. But what I really do want to do is I want to put all the bells and whistles in the 78-inch NG. I want to give it everything. I want to give it all the telemetry, the big motor, the big ESC, and I really want that to be my trophy plane. That's the way I guess I'd put it. I want that to be my super nice plane. Okay, in a hangar full of nice planes, I guess is the way to put it. All right, so that's it on the NG. I wanted to give you that a little update because you're going to see more about the Scorpion. I'm going to be talking about it. This is going to come up in videos, okay? So I want to explain it, and I want to compare it to some of the other bigger ESCs that I'm seeing on the market. Anyway, this gets installed in the NG tonight. Just going to set those things aside, and we will get on to the next subject, which, of course, EdgeTX 2.10. All right, listen up, guys. Here's the deal. Every time these guys do a release, we've been waiting for a long time for EdgeTX 2.10, right? It seems like it's been imminent for quite a while. They finally put out RC1, and I want to talk to you guys about it before everyone goes and runs off and flashes their stuff and then comes back and says, well, I crashed my, what the heck is going on with that sidebar video? That's not right. What's happening here? Sidebar video, you're fired. Move on to the next one. So before you guys run out and upgrade your stuff and then say, hey, my airplane crashed, my mixes don't work, this doesn't work. It's a release candidate. So understand what that means. A release can't, look at that knife edge spin, huh? That's the laser, man. That thing is money. A release candidate means they're not ready to call it final, but they're done making changes. They think they've got everything close to ready to go. So they put it in release candidate stage and they release it so that people will put it on their planes and fly it. They'll go out and they'll test it. They'll download it, flash it, and try it out. But it's not final. So here's my caution to you. First off, before you do anything, back up your stuff. Back up your stuff. Don't go flashing anything until you back up your SD card, okay? Back it up. Then, after you flash it, I would recommend not putting it on those kinds of planes right away. Put it on something that you can afford to lose, or something like a EPP profile plane or a wing or something like if it crashes, you're not going to be devastated, okay? And believe me, I have a lot of faith in these guys, but it's a release candidate. So there's a reason for that status. So just do yourself a favor and put it on something that is low risk for you and then try it out if you want. Otherwise, you have another option. The other option is just wait. Wait for it to exit the release candidate and be released as a final. If you don't want to do the testing, that's fine. There are plenty of people who will. Okay? There are plenty of people who will. But that would be my advice. Number one, before you flash anything, back up your stuff. And number two, don't go putting it on your super nice planes day one. Don't do it. Wait for some other poor fool to put on his nice plane day one and find out, oh, wait, there's a problem here. Okay. So it was a big announcement. We've all been waiting for it for a long time. I will not put this on my production radio day one. Like, I'm going to wait for a little while. I'm not going to do it day one. I'll put it on Precious. Precious will get it right away. And I'll sit and mess around with it on the bench. I'll try different things out. I'll fiddle with it and I'll give them feedback. But I'm not going to put it on a flight, like a production flight radio day one. Just not going to happen. Okay. So that's it. That's it on RC1. If you're not aware, it's out. You can download it right now. And congratulations, of course, to the Edge team. There were a lot of commits on this one. It was a big change. And of course, I will be doing a video. I'll be doing a video to let you know what's new. I'll show you some of the new features. I'll make some comparisons to the prior version, and you'll get an idea of what's been changed. Okay, I'll take care of that. Don't worry about that. That's definitely going to be coming in short order. Okay, soon. Okay, before we get moving on, I'm going to check the comments and see what's going on here. Let's see. We're dropping frames, huh? All right, let's see. Robert, I'm looking for comments. New comments. I heard EdgeTX 2.10 is out and includes Surface Radio Master. Yep. Hey, Robert. Hello. I just stepped in the door. Hobie, when I got EdgeTX Buddy. Okay. Jump in Discord. Yeah, get on Discord. You need to get up an hour earlier. Yep, just me or video skip. Yeah, I'm seeing some skipping myself. I'll tell you what I'm going to do. I'm not going to tolerate this. I'm going to pause this video. Hold on a second. Let's just pause that and see if that helps. We'll see if that helps out. I am seeing the skipping too. And it's something to do with the network connection. It's not the computer. But yeah, video is definitely skipping. Look at that. It's just frozen up. How about that? Come on. Are you going to come back? Is the video coming back? It should come back anytime now, hopefully. It looks like a good connection. Once I pause that video, it looks like it's straightened up. Stream health is excellent, is what it says. Stream health. Are we coming back yet? Okay. Anyway, I'm going to keep going because it looks like my voice is still there. It looks like I've still got encoding overload. Consider turning down the video settings. You know what's funny about that is that I've got a heck of a video card, so I don't know why it's getting an overload. Might have to work on this a little bit, guys. I apologize. It should be able to do this. I don't know why it's not. Let me just do this. I'm going to turn off the sidebar video. And we'll go over to the overhead camera. Let's see if that works. Let's see if that cleans things up a little bit. If not, it could be network, because I am actually seeing some slowness in the network. It looks like, and I don't have a radio on, so it's not my radio interfering. Let's see if that picks it up a little bit. I'm seeing 14K. Apologize. Technical problems. It looks like it should be pretty good. Okay, anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get on with the content. Let me go back to the desktop and we'll move on from EdgeTX 2.10. Okay, so next up, that's it. That's all I've got on EdgeTX 2.10 release candidate 1. Just remember what I said. Don't get out there and get crazy about your about updating on production stuff, okay? Don't get out there and get crazy on your production stuff. Be careful with it. And again, I'm sure they've done a great job, but don't put it on your nice stuff and do the testing, right? You want to let other people do the testing or test on something you can afford to lose. So yeah, guys, I don't know. It's network. I'm seeing network issues, and it's not like I don't have network. We do, but it seems to be queuing on the way out for some reason. I'm not sure why. I'm not sure why it's doing that, but it looks to be network related, which is out of my control. So anyway, hey, the good news is I just got a banner on my front door, and they said that they're bringing fiber optic to the area. So if they do fiber optic in my area, that means that we hopefully will get some synchronous upload and download capabilities, which would be really nice. And we can get rid of this issue where we're seeing some network performance related issues. Okay, next topic is 3D printing. 3D RC. So if you've never seen this before, I'm just going to go back to the desktop real quick. Or RC 3D, what happens is during the week, if I come up with some 3D prints that I like to show them to you guys. And this is the first one. I want to show you this one because this thing is really cool. And what happened, here's the deal. I've got a picture of this too. Let me bring up a picture real quick. And let's see here. I'm going to bring the picture into the equation. That's not the picture I wanted. There it is. That's the picture I wanted. I've got lots of pictures this week. We're going to get into all of this stuff. Okay, so what happened was I was out flying the slick and one of my battery straps dropped down below the equipment deck and I didn't have any tools with me. Nothing. I had no tools. And as a result, it took me quite a while to figure out how to get the darn battery strap up on the equipment deck again so I could use it. And when I got home, that was the end of that. I said, I have got to solve this problem. And I came up with a super elegant solution, and I'm going to show it to you. All this is, it's a C-clip. And if I didn't put the STL in Discord, I will. So yeah, it's complaining about streaming. I'm still getting complaints from YouTube that it's not getting enough data for streaming. Sorry about that, guys. Not sure what to tell you. I'm not sure. Yeah, it's not sure. The only thing that I could do would be to reboot my Wi-Fi in the middle of a stream, and that's dangerous. I don't know if it would recover from that. But anyway, here's a look at the little C-clip, and all this thing does is it just sits on your battery strap, just like this. You just push it through, you push a battery strap through like that, and now it just sits on your deck, on the equipment deck. And when it's on the equipment deck, it looks like this. And what that does, it prevents your battery strap from slipping down below your equipment deck while you're out having a fly day. Isn't that nice? It works great. I've used it for a little while on the slick already, all during the week when I did my work on it, and it's been flawless. It's been flawless. It's no problems at all. It's a nice little tool for 3D. So 3D battery retainer clip, I guess is what you call it. All you do is slide it on there and just let it rest against your equipment deck. And then when you have your battery strap closed like this, and just imagine that's your equipment deck. What happens is the battery, it just gets caught right there on the equipment deck and it holds the strap above the deck. It won't drop through. So pretty cool little design right there. And then just to get fancy, I did this one too. This one is intended to fit inside the slots in the equipment deck, and it's got a couple little knobs in there, and they just press down into the hole and the strap comes up through the bottom. And it's the same thing. This one kind of sits flush and it latches into the slot. These are kind of custom. Again, I can share the STL if there's any interest in these, but it was really a simple design. You can see it's not very hard to make. All I did was make a base. I dropped a hole here, put a couple little half moons around the edge just so they would clip onto the deck when I insert them. And that's it. That's all I had to do. So, and I made a couple of different sizes of those depending on the slot. So I have smaller ones for smaller straps and bigger ones for bigger straps. But yeah, very cool little solution. All right, next up on RC3D, I have one more to show you, and that is washers. So I misplaced my thumb screws for my slick, and I had to go out and buy some more. I got some washers or thumb screws from a McMaster car, and I didn't have washers. So I got my 3D printer out, and I simply just printed washers, 3mm, like 3.1 ID, and about, I don't know, 9mm OD. And there you go, washers. So they're just little PETG washers. And again, 3D printing, man, saves my bacon. So now I have washers for my thumb screws. Pretty cool, right? Those I'm not going to bother sharing because those you should be able to make. If you do any 3D printing at all, you should definitely be able to make those. All right, let's see. I'm going to move on to the next topic. That's it for RC3D. Again, I'll put the STLs in Discord if there's any interest in those. If you guys care to see them, let me know. I'll put them in there. Okay, next up is the ESC telemetry converter. Okay, so this is the one we have some stuff to cover. All right, first thing I'm going to do is show you what it does. I'm going to show you how to hook it up, and I'm going to give you some warnings. And by the way, I got to thank Rob. I told you we'd be talking about Rob later. I got to thank Rob because Rob's the guy who turned me on to this, right? I didn't even know about these little devices until Rob mentioned it to me. So he told me about it, and I put a link in the description. Although I'm going to tell you guys, I gave the patrons early access. So I posted an article on patreon.com today and gave them the links. And then right before the Pilot Jam, I went and checked, and they are out of stock already. And they just got stock in. So the patrons kind of went after it. So anyway, I'm not sure if they were all patrons, whatever. He's out of stock. That's the bottom line. But if you go and hit notify, he does seem to get new stock somewhat regularly. So hit notify and he'll let you know when you get stock. Now, let's talk about what this little thing does. The objective behind this device is that it will take telemetry from all kinds of different ESCs, like a hobby wing. I tested this and it does work. This is an AM116, a BL Heli 32. I tested it and it does work. And then the Scorpion, and of course I tested this and it does work. The simple configuration for it is that you have this converter and you use the telemetry port. So on this ESC, let me flip things around so you can see it. On this ESC, right here, there's a telemetry port, right there, telemetry. And on that telemetry port, you have 3 wires that go into the converter. And let me see, I'm just trying to get this so we can see it a little better. A lot of wires here. It's a mess. Okay. So there's our telemetry signal wire right there, and that runs into the converter right here on the bottom, on this bottom slot. And then you need another cable, and I'll show you the cable in a minute, but you need another cable that goes from the RX side of this converter into your receiver. I will also show you configuration details of the receivers in just a little bit. We'll get to all of that, okay? So what we've got now is we've got telemetry from our ESC running into the converter and from the converter into the receiver. And what I'll do now is I'm just going to plug this in. I'm just going to plug the BEC into the receiver, and I'm going to turn my radio on. Turn this on, and
let's go fly something.
We're going to plug it in. And we plug it in, we get a green light there. We should get a bind right there. And I'm just going to check and see if we have our telemetry that I expect to see. And of course we don't. Of course we don't. Live streams. Dang it. I've been messing around with it so much, it wouldn't surprise me if I got something wrong. I've been flashing and changing configurations around. I've been doing all kinds of stuff. Let's see. That wire is right. The telemetry wire is right. Let me just try it one more time. And if not, I'll go through the setup and show you how the setup works. because sometimes it's interesting just to see. And nope, I don't have my voltage right there. Okay, that's fine. We're gonna walk through the setup then. All right, so here's what I'll do since I'm not seeing what I'm expecting to see. Yep, I'm not seeing what I expect to see. Well, I'll tell you what we'll do first. First, I'm going to disconnect the EPW6 and I'm just going to plug in an ER6 because the ER6, I know the ER6 works. The EPW6 works as well. Of course, this is what you get when you do it on a live stream. I kind of expected this to work though. All right. So it's not the configuration, which means it's probably something to do with my converter. And you know what? I'll tell you another thing. I know this has to arm. That's another question. Oh, I know what it is. It's not arming for some reason. It has to arm. If it doesn't arm, it doesn't work. I know that. I learned that lesson working on it today. There we go. Let's see. There we go. I got it. There's the voltage. See, I learned that lesson working on this with the manufacturer. Okay, you see the voltage right there? Yeah, on this particular ESCM BL-Heli32, it has to arm the motor. The motor has, first off, the motor has to be connected. That's not true for Scorpion. On the Scorpion ESC, the motor doesn't have to be connected. The reason I was having a problem is because I have this one for reasons I'll explain some other time. I have my throttle on channel 4. So now that I have it on channel 4, the motor is armed. We see the voltage, and here's what I'm going to do. I'll just spool it up. Okay, so I'm just going to run the motor just a little bit, and we'll run this. And there you go. There's a current reading. And so we've got voltage, current, and it will calculate milliamp hours. See, there you go. Current, voltage, and there you go. You see the milliamp hours incrementing? So that's it. Now let's talk about the so what of this. The so what of all of this is that with this little box, you just unplug all that stuff and set it aside. With this little box, when you add this to your setup, here's why this matters. Obviously the current, right? We're getting current now, and we get a milliamp hour calculation from the ESC. But here's the big one. It doesn't matter what the voltage is because we're not using, I know you guys that are using Express LRS, you'll look at RxBat and say, but wait, I can already do that. Yeah, you can do it up to 30 volts. But if you're running a 12S system, you can't use it, right? You can only measure half of that, up to 30 volts. So what this does is it takes the telemetry from the ESC. So the ESC says, I see 50 volts, whatever, 100 volts, 40 volts, whatever. It says I see that, and as a result of seeing that, it reports that information back to telemetry. So with this device, it doesn't matter if you're running 6S or 12S or 14S or 18S or 25S, doesn't matter. If your ESC telemetry, if your ESC supports it and your ESC is supported on telemetry on this device, you'll get it via telemetry here. Just the main thing to keep in mind is that the VBAT sensor that we're used to on Express LRS is not physically seeing this voltage. It's only seeing a voltage value. Does that make sense? Okay, so that's the so what. Now, I'm going to talk a little bit about what's involved with this because it's not trivial in nature. It's not trivial in nature. Let me get the picture viewer here. Okay, so that's the picture of what I just showed you. That's the BL-Heli32 and the T-Motor AM670. So that's a picture of that working. Now, the dongle schematic, the reason I'm showing you this is because if you want to flash this device, you can use a FIDI adapter. And let me hide the picture so you can see. You guys all know what a FIDI adapter, FTDI, that's the FIDI adapter. This is the Beta FPV. And this is the cable that I made to support flashing this device, okay? So what will end up happening is you can buy the dongle from RC Light Systems, right? They have a dongle, but they're out of stock. So if they're out of stock and you want to be able to change your configuration on your ETC, this is called an ETC. It's an ESC telemetry converter, ETC. Make sense? If you want to change the configuration without using the push button, you can change it with a push button. But if you want to change it without using the push button, you need this dongle. And then when you have the dongle, I'm going to go ahead and show you what it looks like when you have that in place. So let's bring this up, and I'm going to bring up the bootloader, and we're going to switch to, give me just a moment. I'm going to switch to the desktop so you can see what's going on the workspace. There we go. And we'll hide the camera because you don't really need to see that. Well, I guess the camera's not a bad idea. So there we go. All right. So here's my beta FPV dongle, and I've got my ready-made cable there. And what we'll do first is we'll go into the bootloader software, and I'm going to click on the COM port, which is recognizing my beta FPV dongle. I'll click on that, and then I'll hit open. And notice it's under status, it says connect device. So now what I'll do is take the wire and connect it to right up here. It says USB. I don't know if the camera is going to zoom or focus. There it is. It says USB/RX. So when you're programming it, you plug it into the top right there. Oops, I did it backwards. Plug it into the top right there. And you can see the configuration window immediately popped up. And in this configuration window, you can update your firmware and you can configure. So notice in this case, I've got it configured for Graupner Hot, which is the telemetry mode back to the receiver. And the ESC type is BL32, BL Heli 32. You can also set your pole count based on your motor because you can get RPM data off of some ESCs as well. So that's it. That's how you configure this little device. And in order to do that, you got to have this little dongle, right? So I made mine, and I put the links for the resistors I used and the diodes I used in the description. So if you like to make your own, that's the diagram. It doesn't take long. It's very easy to do, guys. I know that may look a little intimidating, but if you've got any solder skills at all, it's very easy to do. Okay, so that's how you make your flash, your cable in order to flash and change the configuration on the ETC. Okay, that's the first part. Now there's more. Of course, there's more, right? Next thing we have to do is you're going to have to configure your receivers. Now, I told you that the EPW6 does work. I probably just have my throttle plugged into the wrong port. It should have been on port 4 instead of 3. If you guys want to see me try, I can probably do it. But there's the configuration you need in the Wi-Fi settings of the receiver. So you have to set output pin number 2 to serial TX, and output pin number 3 is automatically set to, why is the second one on? I don't understand why the second one's on. Hold on a second. Why is that on? There we go. I don't know why there was that overlap there. Okay, that's better. So now number 3 is automatically set to serial RX. Notice that. So you have number 2 over on the left is set to serial TX, and number 3 is set to serial RX. That's automatic. And then for the serial protocol, you have to put in hot. You see how it says hot telemetry right there at the bottom? Hot telemetry. That's the protocol that you use, and that takes the input off of the device, right? It takes the input off of the device right here on this on the receiver port, and it hands it to those pins on the receiver in hot telemetry protocol format. Okay, so let me go ahead and try it again with this one just to see. So let me make sure I have this right. I know I had this working. It definitely does work. So the EPW6 100% does work. And we also have to talk about these cables too, because you have to make these as well. Nothing easy on this one, guys. This is not for the faint-hearted, that's for sure. This one takes a little bit of effort, but it's not that difficult either. Like when I say it takes a little effort, it's not that hard. It's not ridiculous. It just takes a little effort. Okay, so this is the receiver port. This one goes in there. And then my telemetry off of the ESC, that one goes right there on the bottom. Okay, so I'll turn the radio on. Hopefully, now that I have my throttle on the right channel, I'm hoping the motor arms and everything is happy this time. Okay, so I'm just going to go ahead and make sure my throttle's down, throttle's locked. I'm going to plug this in. There it goes. See, I knew it. I knew it worked. There's the EPW6 right there. I just had my throttle on the wrong line. It had to be on pin 4. Okay, so there you go. There's the voltage on the EPW6. Okay. And if I go over to this screen, you can see there's some other sensors that come in too. I see alt and V speed. I'm not sure if those are accurate or not. I'll have to check. And there's battery percentage. I haven't checked that either. But anyway, there you go. RX back, current, and MAH, man. That's pretty cool for one little device. And no, you know, once this is mounted in your system, it can be permanently affixed. So anytime you plug in now, from now on, you've got all 3 of those values. Isn't that cool? I think that's pretty cool. I mean, I don't know about you. Oh, and you guys want to see it run, right? Let's run it. I'll hold this motor and we'll get it running and show. There's the current. See? Pretty cool. I don't know about you, man, but I'm kind of digging that. To me, this is kind of like table stakes. Boy, I'd like to see this, you know, baked into everything so we don't have to do anything other than plug a ESC into the receiver, even if it includes a secondary telemetry wire, and get that kind of data. But for now, this is a reasonable workaround. It is definitely a reasonable workaround, and I'm pretty happy with this solution. Okay, now there's one more thing to cover. We have to cover the cable for your connection to your receivers. Oh, there's the ER6, by the way. This is the ER6 configuration. Now on this one, the thing about the ER6 is it's got a UART port in the back. All right, so see how that's got the UART port in the back on the ER6? On this one, you don't have to use your PWM output pins, right? You just use that UART port that's right there on the back, and you make your special cable and connect to it. On the EPW6, if you do this, let me just bring that back into frame. On the EPW6, if you do that, notice that you're going to burn 2 PWM signal pins. You're going to burn pin number 2 and pin number 3, okay? That's the TX and RX lines that I showed you in the configuration. So you're going to burn 2 of them. Keep that in mind, okay? It's 6-channel receiver. Now you've got 4 output pins that you can use, all right? So on the Radio Master ER6, because they have the UART in the back, we can take the hot telemetry serial input on that line instead, and we don't use any of our PWM pins, okay? So the configuration to do that is right here. All you have to do is just go down to the bottom right here where it says hot serial protocol and set it to be hot telemetry. That's all you've got to do right there, hot telemetry, and you're all set. Okay. Now, next up is, oh, that's the configuration window. And here's the cable. I told you guys you have to make a cable, right? Here's the diagram for the cable. There's a link for the the Graupner hot protocol in the description. Another thing about Express LRS, this is not in the main version of Express LRS. It is in the master branch. So you have to use the master branch and you download that for your particular receiver and flash it, and then use this cable. So this cable is very simple. That's just a diode. So all you need are 3 wires that go to the 3 wires that they're talking about here. Let me move this out of the way. I'm just going to move this, slide this over a little bit. So the 3 wires they're talking about are right there. Those are those 3 wires. Okay. Makes sense? Right there. Those are the 3 wires that they're talking about. Come on, focus camera. There we go. Those are the 3 wires on this side. They go into the RX port on the ETC. And then under the shrink wrap, I have the rest of this wiring diagram, which simply takes the white wire and opens up and then runs a diode from the white to the blue. That's it. That's it. Very simple to make it. It's not hard to make it, but you do have to make these cables in order for this to work. All right. So I think that's it. And then, oh yeah, here's a video showing the Hobbywing Platinum. This is a Hobbywing. It's right here on my desk. This is the Hobbywing Platinum 80 amp V4. And you can see that one is working as well. I've got voltage. Now, what I'll tell you is that there are some issues with current on that one. I'm not sure what the deal is, but there's issues with current. When I ran the test on that one, the current was fluctuating wildly. For me, I'm okay with that because I don't think I'm going to be using the Hobbywings anymore. I think I'm going to be switching pretty much exclusively in that weight class to the Team Motor AM116. I like these ESCs a lot. I really like that BL Heli 32 a lot. So I'll be using these ESCs in this weight class, which is, 60, 67 inch, no problem for those. That's what I'll be using. So I'm not going to worry about troubleshooting the Hobby Wing. But if you are interested in using the Hobby Wing with this setup, you can read the book, read the instructions, and probably get a little help from Simon on what you can and can't do. All I'll tell you is that when I did it, that current was jumping all over the place on the Hobby Wing Platinum. Okay. And then that's it. We're back to the battery straps. It looks like whatever was going on with the network seems to have calmed down. I'm not sure what the heck happened, but it seems like it calmed down. Yeah, that's definitely outside my control, but I don't want to push my luck. So I'm just going to pause that video and I will come back over here to this Q&A or the comments and see if I can see anything else going on that I need to address. Let's see. I'm scrolling back up to get into the comments here. Get YouTube Premium. For all the new guys, please consider joining. Yeah, okay. We're still going up here. Methinks video on a portable field kit with tools, and it would be everybody's best interest, even yours. A video on a portable. Hey, yeah, that's not a bad idea, Robert. Robert suggested a video with a portable field toolkit. And the funny thing is I stopped carrying tools. I used to bring a lot of tools. You know who brings my tools? Dave. I go flying with Dave. He brings my tools. Your A1 still going strong? Yes. Tim wants to know if my A1 bamboo printer is still going strong. Yes, it is. I love that thing, man. I print on it all the time. Fred says, I tried it this morning, but ended my wife up leaving for the day. Okay. I tried now and just caught up for my wife for the day. Okay. Smoke 35 watching, 24 likes. Yeah. If you guys hit the like button, I appreciate it. Hit the like button. For all the new guys, please consider joining RCVR on patreon.com. As little as $3 a month and goes right back in the channel. Yeah, guys, this is how I do all this stuff, man. The patrons help. They kick in and I get stuff like this and I try it out. That's how it works. That's how it works. I figure it out. I put in the time and I do the testing and I share it with you guys, and that's how it works. So thanks, Hobie, for reminding everyone to do that. Patreon.com/RC video reviews. $3 a month. It's cheap. Let's see. I know a guy that sells time travel machines. Okay. A little bit of chat. Let's see. I'm looking for an honest question. Let's see. The planker gear is catching up with the heli gear. Only took a decade, right? Fred's making a joke because all the heli, but see, here's the deal, Fred, the honest truth behind that's an interesting comment actually. So here's the deal. On fixed wing, we've had this capability for a long time. The problem is it requires a flight controller. And not everybody wants to fly a flight controller on line of sight planes. It seems like a lot of extra work to do that. And I think we all know that if you get a flight controller that, you're going to be in for some work to get it to work right. And for line of sight, it's just not strictly necessary. I mean, some people balk at the idea of even configuring a gyro. So a computer is out of the question. So the idea behind this and what I like, what's so attractive about this to me is that this is one simple little box. You configure it on your desk, you plug it in, you're done. And that's it. So just keep that in mind. All right. Let's see. YouTube Premium, feed so jumpy. Haven't seen an ad. I don't know what was up, man. I bet you my son was probably downloading a latest video game update or something because the network seems to have quieted down ever since we had those issues. And I'm not seeing any more problems. So I was probably one of the kids doing something, downloading a movie. Who knows? All right. In some crawler flight time, chat. It keeps you make money. Okay. Extend bidirectional D-shot with ELRS devs. Get on it. Oh, Captain Bryce here. Brian. Extended bidirectional D-shot when ELRS devs get on it. There you go. And he, we got to get you talking to Simon. maybe that would be helpful. Maybe not. But if we can get it straight from the SE without a converter, woo, then you'd really have my attention. The problem is then we got to find ESCs that are like this one that are capable of doing all the, all the cool stuff with the performance to also support things like BL Heli 32, right? So we get D-shot. But yeah, Brian, I'm glad you saw this stuff, man, because all I can say is that's what I want. I want unlimited voltage. I want current. I want an accurate milliamp hour reading. And that's it. Is that asking too much? I mean, we don't drive a car without a gas gauge, right? I mean, it's not asking too much. Come on, Brian. Let's go. Get with the program. We love Brian, guys. Love him. Great guy. Let's see. The $2,800 a month just for carbon tax, hard to pass on to customers. Okay, you guys are chit-chatting. So I'd settle for being able to cram BL-32 telemetry into an RX without D-Shot and all that fancy nonsense. Ooh, hey, that'd be fancy. Ryan P is here. How you doing, Ryan? Glad you can make it. It's certainly easier to develop, but wouldn't it be great if it worked when you select a D-Shot output all in one wire? Yeah, I know, right? I'd love it if this were simplified to the point where instead of jumping through all these hoops, we could just plug in one wire from the ESC into the receiver. There we go. We're up and running. I'd love to see that, and directionally, I mean, all I can say is that if the open source community keeps putting pressure and resources into that type of functionality, you keep getting guys like me to talk about it and show it. And hopefully the vendors catch on, right? But that's what we want. It's not that big of it. It can be done. All right. We have proof it can be done. It can be done. It's been done. So one little device, that's all it takes. All right. One wire would be pretty neat. I agree. That's what I want to. Once D-Shot seems fully validated, we'll look at the incoming side. Awesome. All right, jump on in. Okay. All right, that looks like I'm caught up with the comments, but yeah, directionally, man, this is what I'm talking about, where I'd love to see it go. Yeah, and by the way, look, the network is perfect again, and I didn't do anything different. I even turned the video back on, and it's been smooth like butter. So something in the stupid network, man, it got us again. That's out of my control. I'm so sorry. I'm annoyed. I'm gonna get that fiber optic, man. That'll fix everything when that stuff comes in. Hopefully it'll fix everything. All right, let's see. That was it for the ETC. Next up, TX16S battery. Oh, so, okay. First things first, get on the Discord and look at the Radio Master channel. One of the guys came in and posed a question about battery voltage on the radio. He said, hey, what's the minimum acceptable battery voltage for a TX16S? And I personally, for me, my initial response to that was, that's a cliff I choose not to dance near, because why mess with it, man? I'm flying these nice planes. I don't want to take a chance that my receiver runs out of juice while I'm flying. So I just don't even try to find that limit. In fact, one of the comments was made, in fact, I made it, was that if I'm at the field and I'm taking a break, sometimes in the middle of the day, I'll just take the battery out of the radio, stick it on the charger for 5 minutes, and I got 5 hours more flying. So keep that in mind. You can do that, right? Just take your battery out and stick it on your charger. It's a regular Li-ion or LiPo battery. Stick it on your charger and top it off. It just takes a few minutes, 5-10 minutes, and you're back in business for hours. But what ended up happening was we got into a conversation about the regulator and voltage specifications on the regulator chips. The developers got involved, and Peter came in with the comment that I liked the most. He said, look, what was it? I think he said 6.4, 6.6, something like that. Go look on the Discord. Maybe someone will post it in chat. But he said, look, 6.6, and if I'm flying long range, 7.2. And I'm like, yep, there you go. Why mess with it? Why mess with it? I mean, I know we like to get everything, all the performance we can out of these devices, but I got to tell you, for me, the right answer is don't screw around with it. Like I do not like to mess around with battery voltage on my transmitter. I want that to always be topped off, right? So my personal recommendation and what I do is I charge mine before I go to the field, the night before, and I fly all day. And if I'm there all day and I'm getting a lot of flights in and there's a lot of things going on, I might take the battery out, give it a quick little top off, and then I'm good for the rest of the day for sure. So that's my advice. And I'd be interested to hear what you do with your radio in the comments. Leave a comment and let us know, where do you like to see your battery when it comes down to it? And also keep in mind, there are probably different outcomes for different types of flying. So if you're running Express LRS, for example, or if you've got one of the external modules, maybe you cranked it up to 2 milliwatts of radiated power, you might need a little bit more juice feeding that. Just keep that in mind. Keep that in mind. You're on a bright sunny day and you've got your screen turned all the way up and you need that brightness, you might need a little more power. So keep that in mind. But I'd be curious to hear, when it comes to your radio cutoff voltage, what do you do? I know for me, 6.4 is my floor, and I never even let it get close to that. I just never let it get close. I charge it up before it gets there. I thought that was a really interesting conversation, and that's the kind of thing that I love about our Discord. You get an honest question like that, and we get some thoughtful responses. People come in and they give thoughtful responses. So I like that kind of conversation. I thought it was well done. Okay, I'm going to check comments and then we'll move on. Jump on in Discord kids. It's like the gas gauge on every new vehicle. You want to see where empty really is. Yeah, maybe, but for me, 6.4, easy. And don't forget to calibrate. By the way, you can calibrate. Apollo 1111 says, noob question in EdgeTX, what's the advantage using inputs for the ATR6 and the channel mixer rather than using stick sources themselves? If you posted that question on the Discord, I gave you a link to a video that says stop dual inputs belong, the sticks belong in inputs, or dual rates belong in inputs. Watch that video. That'll explain it. I gave you a video on that one. Let's see. I think I did, because that's the same exact question I answered on Discord earlier. All right. I did ask in Discord. Yeah, there it is. No response yet. Yeah, there's a response. You better go back and look again. I responded to that. D. Griffiths says 7.4 for him. Wow. Out of 8.4, down 1 volt, huh? All I do is calibrate it with voltmeter and leave the settings per battery specs. You've been definitely on it this week. I'll tell you what, man. It's been a busy week. I've been testing with the ESCs. I got Scorpion. I got the BL Heli 32. I got the Hobby Eagle Hobby Wing 80 amps sorted out. I already made the slick conversion. I've got the NG torn apart. I'm telling you. And I got a jet video coming up. It's crazy, man. And we're flying this weekend too. It's been nuts. Okay, let's get back on topic. So that's it for the voltage question. Next up is Q&A. Whew. I told you, man, it was going to be a lot tonight, didn't I? I told you. It's going to be a lot. All right, let's see here. QView. My little Q&A thing is not popping up for some reason. I don't know why. There it is. Okay. So Q&A, if you're not familiar with this segment, if I see questions on the channel, YouTube during the week that I think might be interesting to more than one person, I try and cover them on the PilotJam, because why not? All right. So first question comes from Fragsta. Is that an Aussie name? He says the value from a lot of these sensors needs to be calibrated. So you probably need to do a check with a multimeter and adjust the displayed value on your transmitter. So the guy obviously doesn't know me and he doesn't watch my videos, because I'm the first guy that says calibrate every damn thing. And I bought a expensive Fluke because I like to measure stuff. He doesn't know. But anyway, the bottom line is that he's right. You do need to measure this stuff. I don't take any of it on face value. And I actually already did measure the voltage. And the voltage, it took a 0.7 offset. And as far as current goes, the current reading, and we'll see, somebody else asked a question too. On the Scorpion, we saw a no load current of 0.8 amps, which I don't buy that. So the current thinking is that at low current settings, the gauge is probably off a little bit. But what we want to do is get it in a plane, take it out to the field, put a clamp meter on the battery, put a watt meter on the battery, and put the radio with the new telemetry on the system, and then take a measurement and see what happens, and measure all three and see if we can figure out, we can triangulate a real answer. So he's not wrong. You do need to measure this stuff. And I would tell anybody, don't listen. Just because you got a sensor that says, oh, you're at 22.5 volts, measure it and measure it again later. You got to check this stuff, man. Don't just rely on what you see. You got to check your work. Okay. All right. That's a good point. Good call out. But yeah, he doesn't know the channel because I do that stuff all the time. I bought an expensive meter to do it. All right. Angel Venkov 1 says, hi, RC Video Reviews. I really enjoy to watch your videos. The content's informative. You deserve 1 million subs. May I ask you so? Okay. So this isn't so much a question as he's my favorite commenter of the week. See, this is the way you butter up a YouTuber. You deserve 1 million subscribers. Favorite comment of the week. Hands down. No questions asked. That's a comment of the week. But let's get to his question. What receiver do you use on the airplane? That's on a reference to the Extreme Flight 67-inch. And I know the guys that follow the channel, they know the answer. I use Express LRS on all my airplanes. Every airplane I've got is Express LRS. Jets, all my big 3D stuff, all my sport planes, everything I've got is Express LRS. On this particular plane, it's an Express LRS Radiomaster ER6, an ER6 in that plane. I love those ER6s. Great performance value combination on that receiver, no doubt. Next up is Surjit Singh Dio 6533. I probably butchered that. A small question for a trainer 5-channel. Should I get an ER6 or an ER6 GV? This is an interesting one as well. Either one will work, of course. The GV costs a little bit more, but it gives you the Vario, which is the altimeter, and it gives you the altimeter and the Vario, so you know how high you are and you know your rate of ascent or descent. So if you want that kind of information, a GV would be great. If you don't care, then an ER6 is fine for a 5-channel setup, no problem. All right, Born Free 69 says, thanks for your videos on TX16S. They've helped me a lot on mixes, but I'm having trouble getting a mix from the throttle to smoke pump with the ESC. If, say, on channel 9, do I just do throttle in mix? See, that's a hard question. I don't really understand the question. Just can't seem to get it activate at, say, 50% and gradually increase from there. Okay, first things first, this is a Discord question, not a YouTube question. Because I really don't understand the question. It's hard for me to understand if I say on channel 9, just do the throttle and mix. I don't know what that means. But the response that I gave him on YouTube was, and I'll give this to you guys as well, you have to think about the idea of curves. So if you want something to happen at a point in time, say, you want a smoke pump to invoke only at 50%, a curve sounds like a pretty good place to do something like that. And honestly, it'd be something that I'd probably experiment with. I can tell you not too long ago, I did a video called Dynamic Dual Rates. And the idea behind dynamic dual rates was flying a fast mover like a jet. After I reached a certain point, I invoked a different set of rates. So bottom line, I would probably look at curves, and then for this type of question, get on Discord. Guys, YouTube sucks for this. Discord is so much better. So much better. Get on Discord. Get on Discord. What are you waiting for? Go sign up for Discord right now. We got great people there. People know what they're talking about. You can get help. You can share pictures. We can resolve problems. I mean, it's the place to be. Get on Discord. So here we go. Another question. Is the current right? What's it doing? Pulling 36 watts at idle. Keep in mind, it does have a BEC. Just keep that in mind. 45 volts times 0.8 amps. But see, you don't know that it's 45 volts. That could be, yeah, we don't know. We don't know what that is. We're assuming it's the voltage mains, which is not a bad assumption, but we just don't know. And to this comment, I said, well, we're not sure. We think at the low end, it's probably not accurate. We want to take a measurement under load. That's what we're interested in seeing. Okay. All right. Let's see. Next question. Where's the Discord link? All right. I know Robert's out there. I'm pretty sure he's posted Discord link a few times. Guys, the Discord, and this, by the way, this is Double D 291. The reason I put this question in here is because this is a metaphor for a larger problem. You guys have got to start reading the description. There's so much information in the description of the video. There's links. I've had people ask me, what's your setup? It's all written in the description with links on where to buy it. Where's the Discord link? Literally in every video I post. You guys got to read the description, right? Go back and read the description. That's all I can say. Discord link is in the description. Read the description. All right. Shot by Arian. Do you provide your ETX file site? Okay. This came up on the Discord as well. Somebody came in and said, hey, is there a community quad configuration? And the idea was that some people recommended using the wizard. This guy was looking for a little bit of help getting his first quad set up. And now we got Shot by Arian says, hey, can you give us your ETX file so I can use it on my radio as a starting point? And you guys have to trust me when I say this. If I were to give people that weren't developers my ETX file or highly experienced with Edge, most of them would probably go, what in the hell is he doing? I have a lot of stuff in my ETX file and I have some very complicated configurations, but it's because I tinker with it all the time. So to me, giving out my ETX file, bad idea. I've done it, but I kind of do it in a controlled environment. What I'd rather do is share a simple model file with you. But with that said, my more preferred point of view on this is, rather than have me give you a file, what I would propose you do is watch the video on how to set up a model in 3 clicks. It's on my channel. Watch some of my EdgeTX snippets. Watch some of my EdgeTX training videos. Just sit down with your radio one night, back up your SD card, and just go through some of my videos. And I promise you what'll happen is, as you go through the videos, what'll end up happening once you watch enough, all of a sudden this light bulb goes on. You're like, oh, I get it. And that's it. You'll never need to watch another one of my training videos again unless I'm showing you a logic trick or if I'm showing you new features for Edge. So I strongly encourage you guys, learn to program your radio by yourself. Ask for help. We'll help you, but learn to do it on your own. And for the love of Pete, get rid of the damn wizard. I know why the developers put it on there, so it's not a criticism on the EdgeTX guys. They do it because they got to make it accessible, and if they don't, they'll get their hats handed to them. So I appreciate their point of view. I'm just telling you, if you listen to my channel, get rid of the damn wizard. Delete it and learn to configure your radio by yourself, by hand. Because it's like, I feel like I'm dad giving you your medicine. Take your bad medicine, get it over with, and then once you've taken your medicine, you will thank me in the morning. I promise you. So just spend a little time watching the videos with your radio. Put your feet up, relax. Use your old radio to fly your planes. Take your new one. If you're new to Edge, just spend some time watching some videos, play along, make some configurations up, and sooner or later, light bulb will click, and you'll be like, "Oh, I see what's going on here." And you'll be relentless. You'll be a ninja. You'll be able to figure it out all on your own. And then you get help for nuance, right? That's easy. That part's easy and totally understandable. It takes EdgeTX is kind of like what do they say? It's chess. It takes an hour to learn and a lifetime to master. That's kind of like EdgeTX. Now you can learn it quick if you put in the time and do the work. You can learn it, but to master it, it takes real effort. There's a lot of incredible capability in that firmware, without a question of a doubt. All right, next up is Alwinger. He says, thanks for the video, guys. I'm new into RC. What charger should I buy then that I can trust and doesn't cost a fortune? All right, first things first, there is no perfect charger. I've found some good chargers. I've found some competent and decent chargers. There's no such thing as a perfect charger. Let's start with that. But my order of battle would be, start with an iCharger. If you can afford it, if it's within your budget, get an iCharger. Even an iCharger X6. I think the iCharger X6, yeah, I know it's $100, but man, it's worth every red cent. That iCharger X6 is really, really good. So that's a place to start. If that's outside your budget, maybe consider something from Hoda. I've been impressed so far with my Hoda F6. I've got the 4-port 1000-watt Hoda F6. That's $129, so it's even more. But they have cheaper versions, right? They have smaller versions. So consider Hoda. And then finally, I would consider ISDT and Toolkit RC, probably in that order. I'd probably look at ISDT first and then Toolkit RC. Toolkit's got some good stuff. I like some of their desktop stuff. I like that M6 DAC. That's good. I like the M6 AC. That's good. The Toolkit does make some good stuff. And I got to be honest, ISDT, they've had some misses. The Q6 Nano, the new one, I hate that thing. That Air, the Q8 Air, that was terrible. But overall, ISDT tends to be pretty good. So that's the way my regression strategy, I would say check out iCharger first if you can, probably Hoda, and then I'd probably look at ISDT and Toolkit RC, probably in that order. Okay. That's my regression strategy on chargers. And then we're back to number 1. That's the end of the Q&A. All right. I'm going to check comments and then we're going to move on with our lives here. Hold on a second. Did somebody say Spectrum? Isn't that word banned? Can't you guys fix him? Fred? Okay. Robert, just saw your comment about your monthly, carbon tax raining here this weekend. Sad to say. Yeah. We're getting a heat wave down here, man. Let's see. John uses Spectrum on everything. That's funny. You're funny man. I use Spectrum to sharpen my blades. All right. Hobie says 2 million. That's right, brother. 2 million subs. That's what we need. Be nice to get there. You guys see the little box I have in my hand? You're going to be, do anyone know what that is? No one knows. I'm telling you, man, it's been a busy week for the channel. It's been nuts. Okay. The answer for Born Free is blue. Okay. Battery holder, jumper 21. Okay. Bottom line. That's a PilotJam sponsor there, Freddie. This is RC Sailor. Oh, hey, man, come on, guys. Are those fighting words? You guys are bad. Brian Phillips. Okay, that's not all. Just gorgeous. So that's not, guys. I drink for every time someone said Discord, we'd be hammered right now. Yeah. Discord. Get on Discord. I find it moot to buy a cheap charger and it's not going to last until you get a good. Yeah, just get an i6, man. Those iCharger X6s, they're good. All right. First person view news, new subscriber final live show and getting good advice. Well, glad you can make it. Well, glad you can make it. Okay. Let's see what's coming up. All right, guys, listen up. Last weekend that we went flying, Dave and I'm going to hide this thing, get this out of the way. You guys notice the video quality's been fine. I'm telling you, man, network problems. I don't know what to do about that. Anyway, Dave and I went flying. We did a lot of filming that day, and I'm not sure exactly what happened to my microphone. I think it got caught up high on my neck strap because I was clipping like crazy, and you can't fix clipping. There's just no fix. I do actually use the Rode safety track. So on the Rode Wireless Go, there's this thing called a safety track, and I use that. The problem is that if you clip at the source, the safety track doesn't fix it. So I was clipping at the source and the safety track didn't fix it. So I made the video and I was just devastated because the video, you know, we tried really hard. The laser was great. It was a lot of material and I was clipping like a lot. It wasn't just a little, it was a lot. So I went out and I started doing some reading. And when I first bought my Rode Wireless Go 2, this did not exist. This was non-existent. And I could not believe my luck after having a weekend where I was clipping like mad that I went out and did a little searching and found these. This is the Rode Wireless Pro. So if you've ever been with me on the channel, you're familiar with these things, right? Here they are. You guys have seen these. I know that you guys have been, you know, if you've been at the field with me, you've seen these devices. These are the Rode Wireless Go 2. These are the ones I was having problems with clipping. And they've been great. Overall, they've been really, really good. They've been fine. I haven't had any problems with them in terms of performance, except for that clipping thing. But the Rode Wireless Pro, they have a new feature called 32-bit float. Now, I do have 32-bit float recorders. I've got Zoom F2s, and I actually make Freddie wear a Zoom F2 because Freddie's voice booms. He always clips when he's wearing one of these. And Freddie's voice sounds really good on the F2. Mine does not. I don't know why. It just doesn't. It just sounds terrible. Every time I've tried to use a Zoom F2, I sound terrible on it. Fred sounds fantastic on the Zoom F2, and it is 32-bit float. So the Rode Wireless Pro, this one has 32-bit float. Now, the cool thing is that it doesn't do 32-bit float over the air, but the local device, the transmitter, this is the one you wear on the shirt, this one is also a recorder, and this records in 32-bit float. And another thing that it does is what they call time code. And what that means is that when you connect this and this, the receiver sends a code to this one called a time code. And that way, when I go into post-production to edit the videos, they do all the work of syncing everything up. So when I have, say, Dave on unit 2, John on unit 1, and we're doing a recording and the recording is going into the camera, these two in post-production will automatically sync with the camera audio track, which is just, you have no idea what that means to me. Because when we have a long fly day, when there's a lot of segments, when we have a lot of segments out there, I spend an inordinate amount of time lining up audio clips. And you might have also noticed when I pull these out of the charger, they automatically turn themselves on. So this one turns itself on, and then I pull this one out and it turns itself on. It automatically connects. I hand that to Dave, put mine on. We're ready to start recording. And because I have time code now, it doesn't really matter how long they are because I can just drop them in the audio track on post-processing and hit a line based on time code and poof, they're lined up and I'm ready to go. So these I don't know how old they are. I think they're a couple months old, but I didn't know about them. I only started looking for them because of what happened last weekend. So Rode Wireless Pro, hopefully now when we're at the field, no more clipping. I know Fred hasn't, if you guys haven't noticed in the past couple months, Fred never clips anymore. It's because he's on 32-bit float all the time. Dave doesn't clip anymore because we fixed his microphone and got him moved way down. And now I won't be clipping anymore. That problem is in the rearview mirror. So I'm really happy to have these. And oh, of course, I still have the OGs. So if we ever have a fly day and we have a lot of people there, I can still bring these out and get people on those as well. So Rode Wireless Go, I'm really excited about having that capability on the channel. So little fluff balls, says Hobie. I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole. Those are called dead cats. Robert Orlov says, see, I never would have guessed that was in the box. I thought maybe they were pagers for Dave and Freddie. They kind of look like you're dating yourself now, Robert. You remember when people used to carry pagers? That was a status symbol, wasn't it? Pagers. John is having Dave and me get that Tesla chip inserted into our brains. No, it's Fred. It's not in your brains. It's not going in your brains, bud. Try again. Robert says, so what you're saying, Freddie, is all the audio coming from you is going to be garbled if it's connected to your brain. You and Dave probably need it. 32, baby. Yeah, Fred is 32-bit float all the time, and that's why he never clips anymore. Like at the field, all that's going to come out when you talk, Freddie, is no. Cleared me up. Yep, Fred's all squared away. All right, so that's it on audio in terms of what's coming up. Wanted to share that. I told you guys, man, I've been busy this week. It's been nuts busy. So, all right, that's it for that part. Okay, so in terms of what's coming up, I'm just going to go ahead and say it. I think you guys already found it on the FMS website, the integral. You guys have seen that. I'll be flying that this weekend. So we're going to get that on camera. We're going to fly that bad boy and get some video done there. And I also have the Slick reconfigured for 12S. I'll be flying that. I have the NG getting a new motor and ESC combo. That's going to get the Scorpion. So when I get off the PilotJam tonight, I'm going to put the NG back together with a new ESC and its new AM 780 motor. And we're going to fly that this weekend. I'd love to take out either the laser or the ARS or the Extra 260. I don't know. But I think those three planes, the 78-inch, the 70-inch, and the 67-inch, that sounds like a good day to me. That's what I'm probably going to bring. Oh, and I got to bring the jet. So maybe not a small one. I may not be able to fit a 67 this time. We'll see, but we'll see. So all I can say is, oh, and we're going to use the awesome new 32-bit float Rode Wireless Pro. I'm so excited about that, man. It's just, you guys have no idea what it's like to go out and film and you get back and you load your audio up into the audio editor and you see that flat bar, meaning you clipped. It's just devastating. It's devastating. Because there's nothing you can do to fix it, and it really sounds like a bucket of ass. So I'm glad that problem is over. That's gone. Time code, 32-bit float, man, I'm in business now. I'm like a kid in a candy store with AV gear. Can you believe that? I mean, who'd have thunk with AV gear? It's just ridiculous. Okay, so a lot coming. There's going to be a lot of flying this weekend. Dave and I, depending on whether or not we have another cameraman, I don't know if Fred's going to make it or not. We may fly the 78s again. We may do that. But there's going to be some flying this weekend for sure and some videos to follow. And I'll let you guys know what I think of the Scorpion. And I will also give the ESC converter a try. Oh, yeah. I forgot to mention one really super important thing about this thing. You guys know on the first look and the maiden videos how I do the watt meter testing. And some people like to come in and go, but that's static. What about dynamic? Well, the only way you can get dynamic is if you can log current in the air. Guess what? With Express LRS, EdgeTX, and this telemetry coming in, we can log current in the air. So now we can do static and dynamic and see what kind of current we're drawing in the air. That's another really cool reason that these exist, man. Now you can get a real idea of what kind of current draw you're going to see while you're flying your plane. So, man, I'm just excited. I told you it was a light video production week, but boy, was there effort going in this week like no other week I can remember. So sorry, the videos were non-existent, but believe me when I tell you, I was putting in the hours this week for sure. So, yeah. All right, let's see. I'm going to check comments one more time, and then we're going to wrap this one up. Freddie has become a pro with that camera. Fred, I don't know what happened last time. Freddie was a little shaky. He's not eating his Wheaties. I think we're going to need to start getting him to do some push-ups or something because he was a little shaky, and I'm not sure. Maybe it could have been zoom. That's one of the real problems with the camera is the zoom. If you zoom too far in, then any little motion shows up. You really got to learn to find that balance on zoom. And I think Fred might have been a little too much zoomed in. We'll see. We'll see. We'll keep working on it, of course. Keith says you need a trailer so you can take them all. I know. What I just need to do is move to a field. I just need to move to a field so I can fly out of my back door. Fred says, I'm going to try and make it out Sunday. I'm guessing it's 50. Well, I hope you make it, Fred. Be fun to see you there, man. Hobie says too windy here this weekend. Yeah, Saturday's supposed to be windy. Sunday not as bad. And Bill says cranking. For some reason the video stopped and restarted for me. Yeah, I don't know why. All right, guys, that wraps up the Pilot Jam. I am terribly sorry about the early portion with the goofiness with the video. I don't know what to say. Ever since it stopped stuttering, it's been fine. I've been watching it in the meter down at the bottom, and it's been fine. So who knows, man? I don't know what to say about this. It's kind of annoying, though. I can tell you that. Stupid network. Well, I hope you enjoyed the Pilot Jam for tonight. I can tell you I've had a blast with RC this week, and I can't wait to try out some of the new gadgets and give you guys data, give you some information. And don't forget to check the links in the description. If you're interested in these converters, hit the notify me and you will get an email. So far this week, he's been out of stock twice, but he got stock back. So I don't know if he makes them himself. I just don't know. But check out his website. And if you're interested in those converters, make sure that you hit the notify button. And I'll remind you guys too, don't forget, in case you forgot, I've got the RCVR 2 setup models. Here's an example of one. One's black with the off-white controls. These are available in my Etsy store. If you'd like to get one, these are nice little setup models. You put your servos in there. You stitch your control surfaces on with some thread, and you can practice all your EdgeTX setups and mixes on this little guy sitting on your desk. Just connect a receiver. So these are available in laser cut wood and 3D printed on my Etsy store. Check out the links in the description if you'd like to learn more about that. All right, fellas, that's all I've got. Bill says, thanks, John. H-Speed says, great info, John. Thanks a lot. You're welcome. Randolph says, I learned a lot from your video on flaps and mixing. I'm still on OpenTX. Hey, man, OpenTX works a lot like EdgeTX. Their core principles, fundamentals are all the same. So if you can figure it out on Edge, you can probably do it on OpenTX and vice versa for the most part. All right, guys, that's all I've got for tonight. I hope you enjoyed the Pilot Jam. And what's more, I hope you get out there and fly something this weekend. That's all I've got for tonight. Take it easy.